What's good, YouTube? So today I'm going to be showing you some back handspring drills that I use when teaching people back handspring and that I actually practice at home in order to make your back handspring as strong as possible and to really solidify those concepts that I go over in my back handspring tutorial. So if you are looking for more of a tutorial, make sure you click my link down in the description below where I go over how I actually do my back handspring. But I really recommend going through this video first if you're just now starting. That way you can really build a solid foundation to build on the skill. So the first drill we're going to do in your back handspring is really going to help you understand how your lower back and lower stomach play a part in the back handspring. If you watched my tutorial, you know I said that jumping back into the back handspring, it's really important you keep those two areas tight and pull through your legs straight. Well, this drill right here is going to help you learn how to do just that. So all you need is a mat like this or something a little bit smaller, it doesn't really matter, and push it against the wall so it doesn't fall. And you need to be able to do a handstand, obviously. So what you're gonna do is you're going to have your hands in front of you like this. This right here is important to have your hands in front because that also drills in specific positions in the back handspring that you should be hitting. So you want your hands to be in front of you, remember, so you can really practice a bunch of different things at once in this drill. So you're gonna push away from the floor. Make sure you're pushing as hard as you can through your shoulders. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your dominant leg, so for me, my right leg, underneath you like this, and you're gonna bend it. You're gonna take your non-dominant leg, so your swinging leg, and hold it straight, push off into a handstand, and you're going to snap down like this. Now, when you're doing this, what you should be looking for is your head in between your shoulders, maximum extension through your shoulders, pushing to your hands, and a nice tight lower back that looks rounded just like this. So this is really important because it's gonna teach you how to get that really powerful snap down that you are looking for in a back handspring in order to get power out of it. So again, the drill looks like this. Make sure that when you're snapping down that it is the top of your feet and your toes that are hitting the mat and not your shins or anything. You don't want to hurt yourself. But if you are, and this happens a lot of times, when you snap down, if you go here like this and your lower back bends immediately, and you can see, look, once this happens, you're in a really poor position for the back handspring. My head is out, my hands are behind me, and my back is arched in a position where it shouldn't be. So you want to make sure that you hold that lower back tight. And this drill, honestly, if you don't do any of these other ones, this right here is my favorite drill to do for back handsprings. It really, really helps because you can practice the majority of the back handspring within this drill right here. Now, this next drill we're gonna do is a little bit easier, but this really will help you with pushing off your toes more and working on how you're actually swinging and sitting into the back handspring. And this is really a big favorite of mine to teach back tucks and back handsprings off of because you can do so much with just a little ledge. And you don't even need a panel mat, like I said, you just need a ledge, maybe about 2 or 3 inches off the ground. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put your toes half on, half off the panel mat, just like this. Start with your arms up, and you're going to sit and you're going to swing and push off of your toes. Now, before I actually do the jump, this is important, and I'm gonna go and say this for all the drills, practice these with maximum effort. It's really important that throughout the entirety of these drills, you're pushing and squeezing as hard as you can because that's gonna make the translation into your back handspring that much easier. What you practice and how you practice these drills is really gonna show in the back handspring. You want quality over quantity. So if you can only do a couple of these drills, but you can do them really, really well, make sure you do it at that. Don't force really crappy positions and really poor execution for the sake of reps. That's not the goal for these. Especially with skill-based learning like this, you wanna make sure that you're drilling in the correct muscle movement and the correct motor patterns. So that being said, that all brings around to how you're squatting in this, by the way. You wanna make sure you're practicing these jumps with the correct squat position that you would do in your back handspring. So if I'm doing a back handspring, I'm not gonna do this, or I'm not gonna do this, or I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna make sure that it's a nice, tight push through my toes. And if you watch my back handspring video, my back handspring tutorial, that's how I do my back handspring. I'm here, I sit, and I push. Now there is a little bit more of a knee bend when I jump off. It's easier on this mat, to be honest. But this is a really good drill to help you learn how to jump and how to practice the whole beginning of the back handspring without actually doing the back handspring. And if you want to take this a step further, you can stack a mat up behind you, and you can jump to your back and practice hitting that full position and jumping backwards without actually doing the back handspring. So one more time, this drill looks just like this. Half on, half off, weight in your toes. You're gonna sit and you're gonna push, just like that. That's all you're doing. Now, for this next drill, you don't need a mat that's that big. In fact, you want something that comes up about 4 or 5 inches away from your hips. So maybe about this high away from your hips. What you're gonna do, and there's another drill we're gonna do that's similar to this, but with different emphasis. This drill is gonna help you learn how to drive your hips up, which is really important because your lower body is what determines how you flip in the back handspring. So this drill right here is gonna help you learn how to lift your hips going into it. Now, it's important how you start into this. You wanna make sure that you're not starting slouched or with bad legs or anything like this, because like I said, these kind of habits are going to show in your back handspring. If you're practicing the drills like this and you're practicing your handspring like this, it's going to translate directly into that skill. So you want to make sure you're starting with your toes pointed, feet straight, arms up by your ears, and that back and shoulders, try to hit your shoulders as open and your upper back as open as possible while keeping your lower back tight. All you're going to do is you're going to lean forward, you're going to snap back and lift your hips up. And on this right here, really make sure you're squeezing your lower back, keeping that nice and tight and squeezing your legs together, okay? You also wanna make sure you have pressure in your shoulders, that way you know you're pulling to that still. So again, the drill looks just like this. You go back and lift up, just like that. So this next drill is really similar to the drill we just did, just with a different focus. Now you do want a lower mat for this. I suggest a 6-inch mat. This is a 6-incher right here. And on this drill, you can actually do this a bunch of different ways, but I think this is the most effective because you can apply the two. You're still gonna do everything exactly the same, except on this drill, you're gonna focus on your swinging speed. This is also another form of dynamic flexibility, and if you don't know what that is, you can Google it and look at different terms if you want to, but basically it's applying this to your back handspring. It's awesome if you have good shoulder mobility and good shoulder flexibility, but applying that flexibility, mobility to your actual skill is different, and you actually need to practice that motor movement. So what you're gonna do here is you're going to, same exact thing, except you're gonna get those arms back really aggressively and really fast. Notice though, my arms aren't passing my head. You wanna make sure that you're keeping all of this, when you go back, in line together. Now, you also wanna make sure you're getting your hips up on this drill, but that's not the main focus of this. The focus of this is getting those arms back as fast as possible. These next two drills, all you need is a wall, and you guessed it, it's gonna be a handstand. It wouldn't be a back handspring drill video if handstands were not involved. So the first handstand we're gonna do, and this is actually really good practice just in general for handstands, is you're gonna face away from the wall. And if you don't know anything about handstands, this will be kind of something to practice in and of itself, because handstands, depending on what you're doing, are a lot different. But for this drill, you wanna focus on pushing through your shoulders, pushing really hard through your shoulders actually, keeping your body positions in line and your head in between your arms, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start a little bit away from the wall, maybe about a foot. You're gonna kick up into a handstand, kind of controlled, touch the wall, make sure you're pushing through your shoulders like this, squeezing everything tight, and you're gonna push through your fingers, and you're gonna bring your feet down, okay? When you bring your feet down, what you're really focusing on is how you're coming off of the wall. This is really gonna drill that transition from the middle of the back handspring to the end of the back handspring. You can also do this with handstand, snap down, rebound. In fact, that might be a better idea to do if you have access to panel mats and a softer floor, because just snapping your feet down to the ground doesn't feel the greatest, so I recommend having some kind of cushion, but that's the general idea of it. You wanna make sure you keep everything in line, kick up nice and controlled to the wall, and you're actually pushing off of the wall, and you're doing that straight through your hands and while keeping your back tight. This is really gonna reinforce that position, like I said, and how you're actually coming off. The next drill is gonna be kind of similar, except it's gonna be isometric shaping. So what that means is you're gonna hold one position against the wall, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually walk your feet up onto the wall, and you don't wanna walk back too close to the wall. About right here is good, so about a foot off the wall again. This drill is really gonna reinforce what the first drill we went over, the handstand snap down to the cat position, is really gonna reinforce that lower back position. So you wanna make sure that when doing this, that your body is in somewhat of a line and actually almost a hollow position in that back handspring. So coming off the end, you should be here like this and rounded, just like this, on the wall. So you're gonna walk it up, point those toes, and you can see my lower back, how I'm pushing through my shoulders and keeping my lower back tight. You don't wanna see this right here or any sort of arch push away through your hands and tuck your hips underneath you and keep that nice and tight, just like that. So this next drill is a little bit more advanced. It actually applies everything we did in a back handspring, and I recommend doing this in a safer environment, perhaps with a spotter. But what you're gonna be doing is you're essentially doing a back handspring and landing in a plank position. So you're gonna be here, you're gonna push back, and you're gonna jump into just like this. Now when you jump into it, you wanna make sure that your hands are in front of you, your head is in between your shoulders, your lower back is kind of rounded and tight, and that you're pushing through those shoulders as tight as you can. Now, if you can do this, honestly, you can do a back handspring, no problem, because that's stopping in it, especially once you have a back handspring, in my opinion, is a little bit more difficult than actually doing the skill. But this is a really good drill right here that you can do to reinforce everything you're working on in the back handspring in the beginning. For a back handspring that you need to focus on the end of, what I recommend would be turning this mat around. And you can do this to a level mat as well. You don't have to go up onto a mat. You can definitely have this right here at the beginning level if you would like. But you'll do a back handspring, and instead of stopping in the prone position, or not prone, but the plank position, you're gonna work on that snap down in the end. So you have a little bit more room here, so you have 6 more inches to work on snapping down. And what that looks like is you'll be here, and you'll push back, and you'll snap just like that. And you can really get a good understanding of how to bring your feet and bring your feet down to the floor and pick your chest up at the same time. So the last back handspring drill I'm gonna go over with you guys today, actually you will need a trampoline floor or some kind of springy surface. If you don't have some sort of springy surface, this is a relatively difficult drill to do, especially for beginners. So I really recommend a tumble track, an air track, or some sort of bouncy surface. Honestly, you could probably do this onto some couch cushions or a Bosu ball as well. I've never tried it like that, but I'm assuming you probably could since they have some sort of little spring against it. But basically what you're gonna do, and this is really gonna help you more with connections into the back handspring, which is another thing people have problems with, as well as all your other toe bounding skills, which is most of tumbling and tumbling. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your hands like this, you're gonna walk your feet behind you a little bit, and you're gonna work on pushing up into a handstand just like this. And you can see, you can even come off the floor like this and work on that pushing down to the end of the back handspring. If you see, a back handspring passes through a handstand. You never want to stop in a handstand. And this really helps you learn how to do that. And in fact, if you can have somewhere with a wall in front of you, if you have an air track that you can kick onto, you can kick off of the air track or whatever surface to the wall and snap your feet back down, and it makes it more realistic to a back handspring. Now, a couple of things you want to look for in this: make sure when you're working on pushing that you don't arch your back like this. It makes it a lot harder to do. And also make sure that you don't lift your arms up until you're kicking those heels all the way to the top of that handstand. Whew. Hopefully that all makes sense, since these are tiring. But yeah. All right guys, those are all the back handspring drills I'm gonna give you for today. If you have any more questions on stuff you can do for back handsprings or want any more drills, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll maybe post another video with some more back handspring drills, because these are only like, I don't know, we do 6, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so yeah, we only did 6 drills. There are so many more back handspring drills out there and so many more things you can do for back handsprings and modify to make these easier for you to learn. But I really recommend you guys take some time out of your training, practice the drills, practice the body positions. This can make it so much easier for you to do. But also remember, there comes a point where you need to try the actual skill. So if you're stuck doing drills for a long time, you need to take a look back and think, okay, I've done all this drill work, it's time to apply it into the back handspring. Because at the end of the day, regardless of how many drills you do, you're not gonna get a better back handspring without actually doing the back handspring. These will definitely help if you have shaping positions, but you really need to make sure that you're actually practicing the skill as well. So if you have any questions on that, feel free, like I said, drop a comment down below, let me know. If you found this video helpful in any way, make sure you like it and share if you could, that'd be awesome. And make sure that you are subscribed with those post notes on so you never miss an upload. As always guys, I will catch you in the next video. Until then, I'm out. Whew. I held that one for a while. I'm already tired. Whew. Not gonna lie, y'all, I'm getting a little tired.